What's the Met? Yes, they won today, the Mets. Yeah. Oh, you can boo. Did you boo? Someone boo the Mets? Let me tell you something. As a Met fan, we don't care if you boo us. Because it's like, first of all, being a Met fan teaches what? I'm not sure what that means. Did you think they were showing up tonight, or? Did the Ouija board with Vinny bring back Kurt Cobain, and the next thing you know, someone woke you up and you're like, Nirvana! I think I know what you meant. I think, but nah, I really don't. That's so funny. Being a Met fan is like, Nirvana! That was just like, being in math class. What's 2 times 7? What? Okay. But I always crack up, people boo you if you're a Met fan. I'm like, Met fans are full of patience, they're faithful, they're loyal, because being a Met fan is like being in love with an alcoholic. It really is. Everyone goes, how can you like the Mets? You're like, because I love them. And they went through a lot of pain. And it really is, because every year the Mets are like, don't leave us. I'm gonna get help. I'm gonna better myself. I'm sorry, I'm not like them. I'm sorry. Sick of them. They get whatever they want. They want the great hitter, they get them. They want a great pitcher, I get them. And you stand by their side, as the Met fans do. Like, don't worry, I got them. They're fine. Pay attention. And every year we fall for the same thing. We're like, well, I'm not gonna leave you. Promise, I'm not gonna leave you. And you tell all your friends, they're doing so good. Wait till you see when they come out. They've improved, they better themselves. You're gonna be so excited. And then the All-Star game comes and they're passed out. I don't know what happened. I can't believe we suck again. Don't leave me. As a matter of fact, this is true. This is a true story. I tried. Met fans, for some reason, we hate the Yankees. We just hate them. We can't help it. It's not even jealousy. We just hate them. We hate them. Where Yankee fans treat Met fans like the World Cup. We're the England. Most Yankee fans like, whatever. Hi, Mets. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're over there. But I tried. This is when I knew it was in bed. I don't hate anything. I really don't. It's a waste of time for me to hate anything. But for some reason, I hate them. And I tried really hard. This is when I thought it would change. All right. Now we all know about the horror that happened here years ago. And if you remember, on September 11th that year, the Yankees made it to the World Series. And they tried to involve God. That this is the work of God saving America for putting the Yankees in the World Series. I don't know if you remember that, but it was like, of all things, September 11th, and this great country of ours to be represented, who better to represent America in the place where this tragedy happened but the Yankees? First there was Jesus, and now there's Derek Jeter. He shall save and heal the city. And, people were getting caught up in that across the whole country. And even me, as a Met fan, I was like, all right. And, because I would watch every game like this. Like, the tragedy, I don't care, I hate them. And then all of a sudden, a miracle happened. Not one night, but 2 nights in a row. 2 nights in a row, the Yankees are down to their last out. Not once, twice. Last out. And the announcer's like, this obviously was not the year of the Yankees. A miracle would have to bring them back. Where is God now? And they were down to their last out, down by 2 runs. And all of a sudden I'm watching, ping, single, ping, home run, ping, Yankees win! Well, wow, that was pretty intense. Surely they still have to win 2 games. Next night, same exact scenario. Like, it would be impossible, practically a miracle for the Yankees to come back again with only 1 out left, down by 2 runs. Bink, walk, bink, home run, bink, home run. Yankees win again! God loves the Yankees. God has asked him to heal America. Hallelujah! Hallelujah! Let's go, Yankees! I mean, people are like flipping out. Even to the point where now it's the last game. And I have to say, I even prayed. I said, God, I beg you to take that hatred away from and out of me. Because it's obviously a miracle that you want them to win it. And it's good for the city and it's good for the country. And I'm going to put my hatred aside even though I'm in love with an alcoholic. Yankees are winning. 1 out away. They're winning. And they're going, surely this is a miracle. I mean, the tragedy this country went through, and now here are the Yankees from New York. And they show the towers and the space, and then they show Derek Jeter, and like, go, oh. And the other team from Arizona had the bases loaded with 2 outs. They're down to their last out. And I sat there and I went, you know what? I think I'm going to start following the Yankees. Yeah. I was for a second healed, and I felt it was godly, and it was. And I said, I'll watch the Mets, but God wants me to watch the Yankees. He wants me to root for the Yankees. And then all of a sudden, there was a ground ball for the last out, and it went through Derek Jeter, went in the outfield, and the tying run came in, and then the winning run came in, and the Yankees lost, and I found myself going, that's because you suck! And that's how I went, oh my God, I'm possessed. It's a Yankee demon in me, so. Yeah, Hammer. Nirvana.
Hello, everybody. This is Mike Tishy. I just wanted to let any listeners in the New York City area know that we'll be playing some warm-up shows in Brooklyn at the Knitting Factory. The first show is Monday, July 18th, and then the following 2 Mondays, which is July 25th and August 1st. We're going to be doing all the songs from the record, and Jim's going to do some stand-up, and we'll try a bunch of the bits that we've been talking about on this podcast from the beginning. Shows will be starting at 8 p.m. Again, that's the Knitting Factory in Brooklyn. Jim Breuer and Loud and Rowdy. July 18th, July 25th, and August 1st. Thank you. Come on out. Me and Alex are here, and we're going to try and do a podcast. Since Jim's in Japan, we're going to try and do something. We haven't been able to put one out in a couple of weeks. So, for the future, because we know that we're bad at addressing each other, this is Mike's voice.
This is Alex's voice. If it makes it easier, I'll talk up here.
No, don't. Okay. Just, I sound cool. He sounds like a dick.
I agree with you, Mike.
Okay. We'll see what happens here. This may never see the light of day with Michael J. Fox and Joan Jett. Have you seen that or no?
No.
So this is Jim's show. I was thinking, who's going to want to listen to me and you talk?
Everybody.
Besides Joe. The only one who's going to listen to this episode is Joe and see what he missed.
Yeah, and my wife.
Yeah.
No, she's not going to want to listen to it either.
Deanna's not going to listen either. She'll only listen if I tell her something awesome happened. Yeah. So I was thinking, I don't want to say tell Jim stories, but
well, seeing that I'm like the newest person in this circle, and I don't have many stories, can I just make them up?
Yes.
Okay.
But I don't mean Jim stories, as in, it doesn't have to be like Jim stories is like me and Jim did this, but
okay.
Before you knew I knew Jim, did you know who he was?
Yeah, I didn't really, like, I had known, like, the Goat Boy character, but I didn't know who it was. I had just, like, seen clips on, like, the best of...
Right, that's where I saw
SNL
all my SNL stuff is from Comedy Central Saturday afternoons.
Yeah. But I was a big Half-Baked fan.
Uh-huh. Like when it came out.
Yeah, when it came out. I really liked Half-Baked.
Was that in theaters?
Yeah.
Did you see it in the theater?
No, but I think, like, when I was younger, I was a big pothead.
Right. So,
I guess it was kind of like the first movie that accepted that culture. Aside, it was like Cheech and Chong type. Right. It was like, yeah, you know what? I'm a pothead, and now there's a pothead movie. Yeah.
We're
like validated.
See, I wasn't, and everyone was always shocked that I loved Dazed and Confused, the movie, and they were just like, how could you like that if you don't even smoke pot? And I was just like, I don't know, because I don't think that was the point of the movie.
No, I don't think that was the point of the movie either. I thought that was the point of, like, it was the high school and, like, that adolescence.
Right.
Coming into high school, and then you have where you're a certain way, and then you're leaving high school, you know?
Yeah.
Because there's a big, in my eyes, there's a huge difference between freshman and senior in high school.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like freshmen, they're like 8th graders.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So, and I thought that was like the point of the movie, that you had these like really like babies coming in and having to experience all of these new things that kind of like, develop them.
It's also, that movie just explained that time so much better to me than Fast Times.
Yes.
Like, Fast Times almost was like, they might have tried a little too hard. I know that it's hard to say this, but I actually like Dazed and Confused better than Fast Times. Fast Times actually has some slow parts where I watch and I go like, nah.
I can see that point. I think that I agree. Fast Times was trying very hard to be a comedy.
Yeah.
So a lot of the stuff was very over the top.
Like, I loved all the Spicoli parts in
Yeah.
Fast Times, and I loved the parts with the guy going, like, talking about his 5-point plan for, like, getting the lady. Like, when he goes to this, he goes, first, always order for the lady first. Like, I love that guy, Des Moines.
Yeah.
He's great. But then there were some parts in the movie that was just like, I didn't understand. That wasn't a character to me that I was like, oh, this is a character I know from
Real life.
Yeah, but in Dazed and Confused, every single person in that movie, I was just like, yeah, I know that guy.
But I thought Dazed and Confused was more... I thought it was more about that coming-of-age experience.
Right.
You know, where it's like I know... Like, I see scenes from Dazed and Confused, and I'm like, oh... That like I had something similar happen to me in high school.
Yeah,
or like,
yeah, it is.
oh.
It is a lot of.
You know,
it is
when you're
about,
kind of like when you're like the young kid at a senior party,
right?
And you're really just trying to fly under the radar.
And how much the older kids are looked up to by the younger kids.
Exactly.
And even like the guy who.
And
like,
even though there's like now we look at 4-year age difference and it's nothing.
Yeah.
You know, but then it's like epic.
Yeah, and even now, there's places where I go, I don't know the difference between 17 and 25.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is.
There's
It is.
There's like 17-year-olds who are just like big, like look like meatheads, and there's 25-year-olds who look like they're like 15.
You're right, Mike.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
So anyways, back to Half Baked. You were a big fan of that.
So yeah, I was like, I guess when it came out, I was still maybe part of that stoner culture, so I thought it was a really good movie. But that kind of introduced me to Chappelle more,
Right.
and also Harlan Williams was in it.
Uh-huh.
And Harlan Williams, I'm not afraid to admit this, was in an amazing movie called Rocket Man.
Okay.
That I honestly think me and the 4 other girlfriends that I forced to watch it, saw it.
I've
But
never heard of it.
Oh, you should watch it.
Did
It's
Elton John
hysterical.
write that song about it?
No.
Okay. So it wasn't that good that he would write.
No.
Did you ever see the movie Guess That's Why They Call It the Blues? Or Tiny Dancer. So, I never saw Half Baked, still to this day.
Really?
I've never
It's good.
seen-
It's a great movie.
Is Dave, are they like co-stars? Is Jim like
Yeah.
the star?
Chappelle is clearly the star,
And then Jim's a second.
but Jim's like a co-star.
Yeah.
Jim is co-stars with another guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's the other guy? The other guy you just met?
I have no idea.
Oh.
They're trying to. Harlan Williams plays their friend who gets arrested. So the premise of the movie is they're trying to save up bail money
Okay.
to get Harlan Williams out of jail.
Okay.
So yeah, so I had seen him on Half Baked, but I still don't think I knew who he was.
Right.
And then I remember listening to Stern and him coming on, and even then I don't think I put 2 and 2 together. His Stern appearances are like legendary.
They're the best.
Especially when he tells stories about Chappelle and Tracy Morgan. I remember him telling one story where they were filming Half Baked, and Chappelle buys a dog.
Oh, I heard this one. Yeah, this story's amazing.
And it's great because he goes in and out of like Chappelle's voice perfectly.
Yeah.
And the dog, he doesn't know how to train the dog. And I think the
So he
dog
brought it to obedience.
Wait. So the dog, it was like a big white fluffy dog, and I think Chappelle named it Whitey. So whenever he walks him, he orders Whitey around.
Imagine walking down the street
You
and
hear
seeing
this
him on
black
the side
dude
of
being like, "Sit, Whitey, sit. Come here, Whitey."
But then I remember he was like, taking craps all over the apartment.
No, he was shitting in his bed.
Yeah.
So he sends him to obedience school, and then I'm paraphrasing. I heard this story years ago, and I guess like the dog goes through obedience school, and Chappelle is super proud of him. So one day, they're hanging out in Chappelle's hotel room, and the dog does something. Or no, he takes I think he grabs one of Chappelle's sneakers and runs under the bed. So Chappelle is chasing him. And Chappelle's happy that he's obedient now. He stopped taking shits on the bed. And he goes underneath the bed to find the dog. And there's tons of shit under the bed. The dog started just pooping under the bed.
And spraying Lysol on it. How did he not smell that? Maybe bringing the smell in would have ruined the story or something.
So that was my first hearing him and hearing how funny he is. And then I guess I watched More Than Me, where he takes his dad on tour.
Right.
And I thought that was a great, great movie. And, it had a really good impact on me.
Yeah.
As far as, what it means to take care of people,
Right.
And it also, I was like, oh, he's a decent guy.
Right.
So I think that's when I became, a fan. Mm-hmm. And then you started hanging out with him.
I didn't know. When I know of him, because I was teaching a kid that lived across the street, a guy. Not a kid, it was a guy, and he used to tell me about his neighbor. And he used to tell me he was a guy from Saturday Night Live, and I didn't know the name because I never watched Saturday Night Live. And he then told me about Goat Boy, and I still didn't know. Then I would go through, I used to just on a Saturday be sitting there flipping through channels, and I would see the SNL thing. So that's how I was just like, oh, that's the guy who lives across the street. But I still haven't seen More Than Me, and I actually want to see it because everyone keeps talking.
Yeah,
everyone keeps dropping that movie. Yeah. Like the way you're dropping it now.
Okay. Yeah. But for those of you who don't know, Mike is completely deprived of pop culture. I just think you don't I think you're very, very selective about what you like. And I don't think a lot of people know that. So I think you not seeing Half-Baked.
I don't know
movies
movies either.
Yeah, or I think you've never really seen the whole Star Wars trilogy.
I've seen the first three. I've seen the three, but I don't know them well. I don't know that I've ever seen The Godfathers all of them.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's important for people to realize that you don't, you kind of come with a clean slate,
Yeah. Yeah, I did. There was probably through the 90s and early 2000s, I was very, I wasn't watching late night TV.
Right.
And I wasn't watching, I don't think I went to the movies for 10 years.
Yeah.
The guy used to tell me, he used to just mention him all the time. And then it was when we played wiffle ball is when I first
Did you know of him, when did you start hearing him on Stern?
Oh, it was around that time.
Gotcha.
So that would be, once he went to Sirius, I think, is that when most of his appearances were probably on Sirius?
I think so.
Yeah. So I would hear all that. That's when I was just like, oh, this guy's great. All those appearances I loved. I used to always talk, I think me and you used to talk about him, maybe my friend Bill, maybe Joe too, always talked about his Stern appearances. You're always waiting to see who the guests are going to be.
Right.
And some of them are like, nah. And then
but whenever you see Breuer, it's,
Yeah.
You automatically tune in.
Yeah. And I would listen and then be like, oh, I got to hear that again, hear it again. And then, yeah. I don't even know. I'm not sure that he was doing as much stand-up at the time.
Yeah.
I think he was sort of taking a break or something. Oh, know what the guy used to tell me? He used to tell me that he had a show. And he used to do it from his house. Yeah. That's what
the
I
radio
about.
show.
Yeah.
His Sirius show.
Yeah. He might have been on for a year or two after I got it, so I would hear it sometimes. But yeah, since I've known him, he hasn't had that show.
Yeah. So I have a question for you. When, I've known you for a very, very long time.
Right.
And I know that, growing up, you were where most kids were into a lot of different things, you were completely focused into guitar.
Right.
Right. So, like, when you first started playing, and I've always wanted to ask you this, like, did you have certain role models?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
guitarists that you wanted to emulate?
Yeah. So it was all metal guitar playing when I first started.
Was that your main source of music?
Yeah, that's all it was. When I was in 4th grade, I started listening to metal, really, and it was like my books, my school books for the.
Oh, you'd write your band names.
I had to have my Trapper Keeper would have all of my band, so when I'd walk around, everyone knew.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like I always look at tattoos, and I know you have tattoos, as the adult version of Trapper Keepers. It's so you can walk around and say, I'm into this.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, so I would have Anthrax, Metallica, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. Now stay the fuck away from me.
No, I totally agree. With tattoos, it was that you're into like a certain part of it was that you're into a certain scene,
Right.
and then part of it for me was, you know, like defiance of my mom,
Right.
You know, it
Yeah.
was like stick it to my mom, you know.
See, that's what I would think. I always thought that way until I don't want to say recently, but maybe the past 10 years. I used to think that it was all out of insecurity to build a persona of someone's self.
Oh, 100%. I never would have admitted it as a kid, but looking back, like, it was so people could identify me as belonging to a certain
Right.
group.
So maybe since I was in a band, I was already put in that group.
Right.
So I didn't feel, maybe if I wasn't that way, I would have thought that. But now I actually go like, I like taking out a piece of paper and drawing on it. Mm-hmm. And I go like, that looks cool. Even just as design.
Yeah.
So I like putting things on my walls that I just like looking at. So now I actually go like, well, it's an artistic, it's just being creative, you know? I never looked at it that way before.
What, you writing the band names?
No, I'm saying like someone getting a tattoo and what they get is it's something you go like, well, this is something I would like to see all the time. Just like I would go, I like having that thing on my wall right there. It's just something I would like to see in my place all the time. So I used to think that it was all just insecurity, and I looked at it, but I don't necessarily think that way. I think when someone's younger, it probably is that. But
well, I'll tell you what, like, I've definitely stopped. Like, I've got like 13 tattoos.
Right.
But I've definitely lost interest in getting them.
As you became more of a confident person, would you say?
100%. Yeah. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So, like, for me personally, I think me getting the tattoos came from what you were talking about as far as, like, being insecure.
Right.
You know, as a way to, like, draw positive attention to me.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, look. Oh, that's great. Where'd you get that done? Oh. Right. Me feeling, like, special. You know?
Or even, like, a lot of people look at it, and you must know that back in the day when you had them before most people did.
Right.
That a lot of people would look at it and be like, that guy's got the balls to do that. He must be crazy. And then people kind of go like, yeah, don't mess. It's a way to almost put fear into people.
Right. And it's a way to belong to that group of people that you don't want to mess with.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
And so that 100%. And then once I got like more confident, I lost all interest in getting tattoos.
Right. Yeah. So my Trapper Keeper was
tattoos.
Yeah, I would have like Kiss, and I was just like, yeah, I know who Anthrax are. No one knew Anthrax.
Right.
I remember I had a Dio shirt and Motley Crue, but it wasn't. I really did like them. I would sit at home and be like, I would just sit at my desk and go through my tapes and be like, almost like as if I was my own radio station, and I was just playing songs. And I think the first guitar I got into Zakk Wylde at one point, but the first guy there was 2 guitar players that I was so into, and one was Nuno Betancourt from Extreme, because he was the first guy. He was playing a lot, but it made me get really into rhythm guitar playing, because his rhythm was very different than metal guitar playing. So it was more like funk based a little. So it wasn't James Brown, but it was still more of metal, but a little bit, they called it funky metal.
Right.
Just kinda,
like I just learned that Faith No More
is funky
metal.
They are. I would put them kind of in that, because they have those rhythms. It's just the different types of rhythms.
It's not like straight.
Right, exactly. It's not straight dun, 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 eighth notes. The other one that I was really into, was really into Al Di Meola. Who was
like a jazz guitarist.
Like a fusion guitar player. Yeah. So
was he from like Return to Forever?
Yeah, he was in Return to Forever. So I think it was 8th grade, I heard an Al Di Meola album, and then in 9th grade I bought all of his solo albums. I saw him live, and I would just sit there and...
So who do you think was the one that drove you to practice constantly?
It was Al Di Meola.
Okay.
Because it was technique-wise, he was so technical, and he would have all the... there was all articles on how he would... his exercises and how he would get his hands better, and I was really into that for a while.
So was it, I listened to this thing by Al Di Meola, so now I want to learn how to do that, so now I'm just going to constantly practice it. And then once you master that, it's, okay, let me learn something else from Al Di Meola.
Yeah, or I would read what he did to get to his technique there. And it was like him, and also people like Steve Vai. There was articles written on Steve Vai's 10-hour workout.
Right.
And I would just be like, this is what you do all day.
Right.
And I had the mindset that was, if I never put down my guitar, there's no way I can't be good.
Right.
If I don't put it down.
Well, it's like that, what is it, 10,000 hours concept.
Yeah. But the whole
and you
thing,
got your 10,000 hours by 8th grade.
But the thing that the thing that I missed, which took me until it's weird that all of that was great, but I probably did practice some things wrong. I probably gave myself really bad techniques and
Did you have a teacher at that time?
Yeah, I always had a teacher through. His name was Rob Hall. He taught me through all the way till I went to school, to college.
It's amazing because it's and again, it's that when you're young, the age difference. I remember having a saxophone teacher named Janet, and my parents, I guess I must have been a freshman in high school at the time. And
right.
She was steering me into jazz. Mm-hmm. So she bought me the Charlie Parker Omni book.
Right.
And, so it made me practice scales and arpeggios and stuff like that.
Right.
And my parents would drive me to Montclair University to take lessons with her. And I always thought she's an old lady.
Right.
But thinking back, she's probably 22.
Yeah.
Wow. As a freshman, I'm oh, this is such an old lady. She's so mature, but she's probably 22.
Right.
So I'm imagining was Rob Hall that kind of?
No, he was 35, something like that.
But still, that's kind of young.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
So he might not be, he might be teaching you how he does things that might not necessarily be 100% technically
he went
correct.
to William Patterson for guitar back in the day.
Gotcha.
Which they accept 2 guys.
Yeah. Their jazz program's phenomenal.
He was a guy that did that.
Yeah.
So he was a great teacher. He's the one who made me understand music theory. When I went to Berkeley, I got right into Harmony 4, and
Gotcha.
it's all from Rob Hall.
Oh, cool.
He taught me. He just made me know all my scales and how they work with chords.
So he was a good teacher.
Great teacher. I didn't do everything he said. I was too focused on practicing what Nuno and Steve Vai said to do. But he made me read. My reading wasn't good, but he had me reading at least a little bit each week because I had to read it to know what to do. And,
wow, that's really good luck that you found a great guitar teacher your first time out.
Well, I had a friend of mine said he knew 2 guys in the area, and he said this guy is a great teacher. And I just went to him, and it was like, he didn't sit there and play for me, which is something I realized later, that you find a lot of guitar players that you go to take lessons and the teachers just want to show off in front of the student. He didn't do that at all. He was like, he would get his coffee, and he just had lesson after lesson each day. He didn't care. He was over showing off in front of the kids. Right. So he would just be like, "Yeah, you gotta comp while I'm gonna play the melody. You have to play the chords, and now you have to read the melody." And I would like mess up the melody. He'd be like, "Let's figure out what this rhythm is," and not show me the rhythm.
Right.
He would go, "You explain, like make me figure out the rhythm in front of him, and so he can know that I understand what I'm doing."
That's great.
Yeah. So,
So, do you remember in Parsippany on Route 46? There's a strip mall there's a bakery there, an Italian bakery. There used to be the seafood place. I think it now might be like Indian stores. Do you remember that music store?
No.
So there used to be a music store, and that's where I started taking saxophone lessons there, and my brother started taking guitar lessons.
Did you guys jam and start a band, or no?
No, he started a band.
Oh, he did? You weren't allowed in it? What was the name of his band?
The name of his band was Fruity Loops.
Oh, yeah. I think I saw them. The Rusty Nail.
And they played a bunch of like Ted Nugent songs.
The last band that I would think Fruity Loops would play.
Yeah. I don't know if it was Fruity Loops or the Fruit Loops.
No, it's Fruity
But they
Loops.
My brother it was a joke.
Well, he was like 19, right?
Yeah, they were in high school, but like they weren't serious.
Right,
like they were just having fun. Kind of like, the chick magnets,
right. Yeah.
But my point was, so my brother's guitar teacher, I'll never forget this because I was such a little kid, like dressed in all black, had this like long, crazy black hair.
For his lessons?
Yeah, for the lessons. Had like, his fingernails were painted black.
Yeah.
Always wore like tons of like jewelry.
So he's good.
So exactly, because he looks metal.
Right.
And he had like these rubber frog earrings. It was like the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
So when I was saying, like I practiced all that, but I think it's funny that the thing that I was missing from the practicing and all the hours of repetition was what I figured out when I started hearing the Beatles. Because I didn't listen to the Beatles all through high school. It was like, which is weird.
That's very weird.
Right, but it wasn't cool. I wanted Living Color and Extreme and the Chili Peppers and stuff like that. Like
that was a great show.
Yeah, it was a great show. I just wanted to learn all the different dances on the show
that the Fly Girls did.
Yep, yeah.
So do you remember? Do you remember when I was a senior? One of my best friends, his stepdad, this Japanese guy, who was the vice president of JVC.
Jun Kamada?
No. Dan, his father was a vice president of JVC. And they came out with this like karaoke /
I remember this
gaming platform. and they wanted to do a focus group. They needed kids to do a focus group. So Dan asked me to get my friends, like a bunch of my friends, to do it. And it was you, Wayne,
Vinny
and Ara.
Yep.
Oh, no way. Yeah. It was a bunch of people, and we had to play this game for hours, and then they bought us lunch and asked questions about it. And
we got like $50.
Yeah, we got $50.
Yeah,
which was huge.
Yeah,
and I remember one of the guys was trying very hard to be cool. Like one of the older guys running it.
Yeah.
He was like their PR guy.
Right,
and he was trying super hard to be cool, and he was asking you about. Because, like, I guess it came out that you were a guitar player, and he started asking you about music, and you started rattling off these bands, and he's like, "Oh, do you like that band In Living Color?" And we just looked at each other. We're like, we silently said to each other, like, "What a tool!"
Wait, so the funny thing is, to be the focus group, us, we're the last people that should be a focus group. Because I don't think we had any interest that other kids had. Like, the fact that we went there and they were like, yeah, try doing the karaoke thing. And we're just like, we were just like, this is the dumbest thing in the world. But that doesn't mean anything.
No.
Because everybody else.
Because we weren't normal kids.
Right,
like,
exactly.
we weren't your typical kids that would buy something like that.
All we wanted to do is sit in the side of the room and make fun of the people who were doing the karaoke. So we're like, yeah, this is great if we get to sit inside and watch people do it. It's funny, though, now I can't even deal with watching people do it.
Oh, my God, it's the worst.
Torture.
Ugh.
So when I heard the Beatles,
Right.
it made me start going like, something about writing songs, like making up chord progressions and making melodies, was the complete opposite way that I thought. Like, it made me start realizing that when I used to listen to this metal music, all my favorite songs had good melodies and good chord progressions. So I would be going through like Judas Priest albums and finding the song Beyond the Realms of Death, which is a nice like ballad with this nice melody. And I was like, I would rewind that song, not realizing that's like the Beatles' influence in the Judas Priest. It's like a nice, good melody and stuff. And I didn't realize that I thought it was the electric guitar that I liked.
Right.
But it wasn't. It was like, it was the songs that I gravitated to were the songs that they had the electric guitar because that made it cool.
Right.
But it was the songs that had like an interesting melody and good chord progressions. And it made me realize like, the Beatles just going and strumming the chord in the most simplest way, and me going, "Oh, that is a great song."
Right.
And so that made me start going, I spent so long not thinking about what note goes against what chord and what makes the sound that like makes you like hits you like a note with a chord, a certain note with a certain chord during a chord progression or something is what makes you go like, oh, that's fucking great. You know, not how fast the guy's picking the scale. Right. And that made me get so far away it's weird that, I mean, maybe 20 years just get so far away from all the technical stuff.
Yeah.
That now it comes back to that where I'm like, I'd be at such a higher level for this type of music if I continued that the whole time, that like what I'm doing with Jim.
So like you're metal playing.
Yes.
So like everything's kind of coming full circle.
Yeah, but
you kind of like started learning how to shred.
Right.
And then it became more about
I got so far away from it.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you're finding yourself having to do that
to figure
again.
that. I'm starting to go like, oh, I got to start going back to this
so
way of thinking.
is it a struggle? Or is it kind of like, you know, like if you're a runner and you haven't run, you're a runner for like 3 years and then you haven't run in a month, the first 2 times you run are the worst. Yeah. But then it becomes easy.
No, I definitely don't have the drive to do it I still honestly go and I practice it a little bit and I still hold the guitar and go like, I still want to make up different versions of songs or write things and make up chord progressions. And I'm more into, I just can't, it's almost like, even at the time, I knew that that's what I liked about it. It wasn't necessarily the competitive person in me wanted to learn how to play the fast arpeggios and all that stuff. And that part of me, I don't know, for some reason, I didn't like that. I didn't like the competitive part in that aspect of music. It was more about who can. I remember my friend Mike Fadell sitting down with me, and he goes, I came up with this song, and he started strumming these chords and whistling a melody. And I remember that day, I'll never forget this day my whole life. He did that, and I sat there and listened to him whistle this melody, and I went, that's what I want to do. Gotcha. And I never thought of it. All I did was go home and go like, just start humming melodies while strumming chords and going from one chord to another. And yeah, it's a complete opposite thing than.
So, but do you think that you can use that kind of songwriting influence on writing these songs.
Yeah,
that
a
you
little
guys are playing now.
Yeah, in certain ways, I think
Yeah.
so. But I think there's also stylistic things that I have to get back, and that's kind of what I've learned from watching how Rob Caggiano was doing the writing. It's like the stylistic things that they do in this style of music are different than they would in a Beatles song or a Hall & Oates song or something like that.
Yeah, but then but that's kind of what makes music interesting.
Right,
is
exactly.
That, like, you can take that very, very specific stylistic thing
exactly.
and influence it with, your
Right.
songwriting.
Yeah, but
you know?
I do. I like the idea of going, oh, you kind of do this. This is a little thing that you do in this style of music, and it doesn't have to stay in metal only.
Yeah.
It could also go to pop music,
And that becomes cool, like, especially as a listener. I like listening, and then all of a sudden something unexpected happens.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's cool. Like, I didn't expect that. Or I've heard that in this type of music, but oh wow, I've never heard that done in metal before.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's fun.
Yeah, yeah. There's one progression that happens in the theme to Silver Spoons that I notice. It happens in so much other music. It's the same melody with the same chord progression. And
I always wanted to be that kid because he had a train that went through his house.
Me too. That was
the best.
great. It's Rick Schroeder.
Rick Schroeder. Yeah.
He's been on Joe Rogan's podcast. He was great.
Oh, was he?
Yeah. He's lives in the mountains or something like that. It's like a mountain.
But he's been in like a bunch of like cop dramas.
Oh, really?
Within the past, I would say 10 years. Yeah.
Huh.
But now he's not Ricky Schroeder. He's Rick.
Right.
Schroeder.
Yeah. Yeah. I knew he was Rick. So,
And also Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
I don't know.
Was his friend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize that kid went on to do something.
Yeah, he was like a huge dancer, and then went on to play Carlton.
Oh. See, that's when I was into back in the Silver Spoons
Oh,
days.
God.
Like TV, like Growing Pains, I loved back then. Was Growing Pains a show that you were into, or is that after?
No, I loved Growing Pains.
Growing Pains.
The Seavers.
Yeah, yeah, and Family Ties.
But that was like we wanted to make our Ramones cover band called the Stabones. Do you remember that, or did I just make that up?
I think you just made it up, but it's kind of funny because Mike Seaver had a friend
Called Boner Stabone.
and his dad's name was Sylvester, and they were sitting on their like driveway. And he goes, "Wait a minute, hold on. You mean to tell me your dad's name is Sylvester Stabone?"
But I thought it would be great to have a Ramones cover band called the Stabones, and then have that like iconic Ramones shirt with Boner Stabone's face in it.
So how funny is that? Like that joke of the Sylvester Stallone, I've never heard anyone talk about that, except like me, you, Wayne. Like there's like 10 of us that we think that joke is like a Eddie Murphy classic to us.
Oh yeah.
That and the other thing that me and you always talked about, which is to me a brilliant movie, and I love it. I thought when I watched it, I didn't know why I liked it. I just thought I watched it because it was on HBO. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, oh, it's stupid later on. And then I started going back to it like when I was a little bit older and putting it on, just like, being like, this is still I don't know why, but this is a great movie, is Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh my God, it's one of the best.
And
it's by far one of the best movies ever made.
And it's because they have the things with like the Chinese guys with the light coming out of their mouth and doing all the superhero things. So it's like, that's what I thought was like, oh, it's not realistic. But when you watch it,
oh, it's brilliant.
His character is great.
He is so over the top, like Jack Burton.
Yeah, but
like Jack Burton always. My favorite line of it was when
he's in his truck.
No. When he's fighting Lopan, and he's like, and like Jack Burton always says, and then Lopan's like, who's Jack Burton? And he's like, Jack Burton, me.
Yeah. I remember like the end just being like listening to him on his CV radio.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Pork Chop Express.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say I've been everywhere, done everything, but when he does that, I remember just being like, that's the end. He just went through this big thing, and then he's back in his truck, and he's such a badass.
Oh yeah, but he's so over the top.
Yeah.
Do you know? I don't know if you've ever seen it, but another movie that's similar to that, in the sense that like the main character is like almost parodying a person like that, is Army of Darkness.
I haven't seen that. Who's in that?
Bruce Campbell.
I don't know who that is.
Oh, it's so good.
When's it from? Before Big Trouble in Little China?
Right around the same time.
Oh.
I would say like late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to see that one.
You have to see it. He's got like some of the best lines ever.
You know who's a similar character, I would say, is maybe in Die Hard, Bruce Willis. That he's like...
I look at it as Jack Burton is like the parody of Bruce Willis.
Right, yeah.
You know, like Bruce Willis is playing it straight.
Right, yeah.
Jack Burton is like he's like, it's like Jack Burton watched Die Hard and he's like, oh, this is what a tough guy is, so this is what I have to be like. He's almost impersonating John McClane.
But they both watched Cobra.
Yeah, but they both watched Cobra.
My favorite part of Cobra is that he walks into his house and he cuts his pizza with a scissor.
How much tougher could you get?
Like, because do you think they were just like, well, we got to have him do something pretty tough right
Yeah.
here? We're just like, he doesn't have a knife. He just gets a scissor.
He's a man. He didn't go to Bed Bath and Beyond and buy a pizza roller.
It's so great.
Yeah.
That movie was amazing. That's like a movie when I first watched it, I was just like, I thought that was an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Like inspirational. Made me want to like, it just made me want to go play Manhunt and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I watch it now and watch him talk, and that one does not hold up.
I think there's another great. I think John Carpenter directed Big Trouble in Little China, and he did another movie that's a little more straight with Kurt Russell called Escape from New York.
I've seen that.
Yeah, I think that's great. That's got some great lines.
There's something one of them has him surfing.
No, that's Escape from L.A. That was like the sequel that happened 10 years later. A lot of people didn't like that, but I liked it.
Escape from
L.A. because it was jokey, it was campy,
Okay.
it was over the
Is
top.
the first one jokey?
No, there are funny parts to it.
I
But
saw
like
it.
that, but that like kind of the like Jack Burton funny parts.
Yeah. See, I did see that one in high school, and I watched. Someone made me watch. Didn't make me watch. They put it on. I think I fell asleep just because I was tired. So I did see parts of it, but I don't know it well.
Yeah, I think Isaac Hayes was the bad guy, the guy who wrote Shaft, the theme from Shaft.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he plays the Duke of New York.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll have to watch that one too.
it's great. Yeah,
The other one that,
but and Kurt Russell plays just like the quintessential badass.
another Kurt Russell movie that's good. This is
He's
great.
great.
We're getting into Kurt
I don't think
Russell.
he's ever done a bad movie. I even liked the movie he did with Goldie Hawn. Overboard.
What about Unlawful Entry? Did you ever see that?
Oh, I don't think I did.
Madeline Stowe and him.
No.
I'm pretty sure it's him, Madeline Stowe, and I can't remember the guy's name, but it was a good movie.
Yeah?
Yeah. I mean, it. I think it's good.
Yeah.
If I went back and watched it now, I don't know.
But you and I have such similar tastes.
I know.
I probably think it's good.
All we should do is it's not the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's the 7 degrees of Kurt Russell.
No, but what movie were you going to say?
There's a movie that to me was huge when I was in like elementary school, which I thought was one of the like all-time great comedies, but I mention it to people and most people don't know it is Moving Violations.
Oh, that was with Corey Feldman, Corey Haim.
No. That's licensed to
Drive.
Yeah. Moving Violations is with Bill Murray's brother, Dan Murray,
Okay.
maybe, and it has Jennifer Tilly is in it. It's like her first movie.
Okay.
It's all about bringing people to traffic school, and they all have to go to traffic school, and it's just them is making them go through traffic school, and the cops are like the jerks, and they're all just
okay.
like, but
No, I've never seen it.
It is hysterical. Me and Joe talk about a couple lines from that.
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Kurt Russell movies is definitely Tango and Cash.
Oh, yeah. We always talk about that. The whole reason they made that movie was just so they could go, hey, Tango. Yeah, Cash. They just wanted. So me and Joe played a gig, and we didn't have a name for a band, and we just said Tango and Cash.
Yeah.
We did one gig, and you know how many gigs I do that are just like at a bar?
Right.
It's like they don't even write the name of the band anywhere.
Right.
We don't even say it. We just say it's the name of our band. They don't even put it anywhere. This one time, there's a marquee outside of the place. It says Tango and Cash. So we got a picture of it. It's the only time we ever did that.
So we were talking about songwriting.
Yeah.
Like you now having to be a shredder.
Yeah. Well, I'm not even, that's not even necessarily my part, but I do
Gotcha.
want to, because I'm getting more interested in it because of what we're doing, and I've been like listening to Rob's solos and trying to figure out his patterns that he does. And he has a really cool way of playing. It's actually made me start practicing that stuff again because it's a different approach than it's a different approach than the Al Di Meola, Zakk Wylde approach that he has.
Right.
And I've noticed things that are really cool he does rhythmically in his solos. Yes, a lot of them are cool rhythms, and I realized that he's a drummer as well.
Oh, okay.
He plays. I think he just plays every instrument, but like so it makes me understand. Like when I break down what he's doing in some of the solos, I do hear he has these cool rhythm patterns that they're hard to pick up when you're listening to him. They're hard to go like, what's he doing? How's he getting that sound?
Right.
But when you break it down, you kind of hear he's got these patterns in his hands that are just really cool. And it's made me start practicing it a little bit. But then again, it's like I start practicing and then I start strumming a chord and
Right.
singing a Ball and Oates song, something like that.
So I know, when did you get into, I know John Coltrane was like a big turning point.
It was at Berkeley I got into some Coltrane stuff. It was more Wes Montgomery was the guy that I went on a huge Wes Montgomery kick for like 5. I got really into him, and that was like, he's my favorite guitar player.
Right.
Is Wes Montgomery. But
Was he like post bebop era?
yeah.
Yeah.
It was, I think, like 60s.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But he's like, there was something different. That was it. When I was listening, when I was being told jazz was this great music, I didn't understand. I was like, I just don't think I get it.
Right.
But it wasn't that I didn't get it. Is that the people that were telling me about it were like jazz kids in jazz band.
Gotcha.
So they're telling me about it and showing me like, this is how you do it. And I was like, I get it, but it doesn't do anything for me. And then when I heard Wes Montgomery, I was like, he sounded like the blues version of a jazz guy. Like it was like, oh, he's speaking.
Gotcha.
And it didn't sound like the way that I was told, oh, this scale goes over this. It didn't make sense until his phrasing was so cool that I started, it was like Eddie Van Halen or something. It was just like, he was that, there's always music and there's a lot of horrible guys.
Right.
There's a couple guys that do it really well, but when you're being told when there's a lot of guys who are naming all the guys on the jazz records to sound like they know a lot, and reading all their liner notes and then telling me about it and me getting my information that way, that's not why I listen to music. It was never about, so I can know more. It was like I really happened to go into my room and that's what I wanted to do. Right. And when they told me about all these things and would tell me they're about their buddy who's really good or something, is like, I was like, it sounds okay.
Well, they're being that guy in the bar when you play that comes up to you and asks you if you know all of these obscure people. Right. And he doesn't want to hear them. Right. He just wants to tell you how many obscure bands he knows. Right. Yeah. And how cool he is. Right. Which makes knowing these underground bands.
Right. Well, that's the thing that I've noticed this so much in playing music is that people are so different when you talk to them about what they know. They seem really good when I'm talking to them.
Right.
They seem like they're going to be, wow,
right,
that guy knows his stuff. And
right.
then you get together and play, and he still kind of seems good because he goes for his thing that he practiced.
Right.
And then after you play with them for a couple times, you start going...
And you realize that that's like the one thing
and
that
you just
he
go like,
does.
yeah, he doesn't know that much.
Kind of like a one-trick pony.
Yes. Or not...
But that happens everywhere. That happens in jiu-jitsu.
I know.
You get like the higher level guys who do two things. Mm-hmm. And after you've trained with them for a really long time and know how to stop that,
right,
they stop training with higher level guys.
Yeah.
And they only train with the new guys so they could show... So they can kind of like show dominance that, right, I'm submitting you with the two things that I know.
Or it's also like a guy, like say my level, I go out and I start talking to people who don't do jujitsu at all.
Right,
and I start talking about...
And you've been training for just about a year.
Yeah. And I start talking like I'm going to kick everyone's ass because I've been doing this and I'm a jujitsu man. But when I'm around you, I don't talk that way. Why? Because that's what that guitar guy is. He's like the guy who's just like, I feel really good that I could say I go to this and it might make people... It's the tattoo.
Yeah, it is.
It's the same thing.
It is. It puts you in a class.
Yeah.
Or in a group.
That's what the guy is who's like naming all the bands and naming all the players on the records. It's so... That's what made me not want to talk to people about music and stuff. It's like, it's not about the part of music that I like. I'd rather talk about... I like talking about music to people who don't play music because I'm so interested in what makes someone put on the song in their car and keep putting it on over and over and over. Not about... I don't want them to explain technically what's going on. I want them to explain what it makes them feel or think about or what memory it brings back or something. And I always go, because that's why I put it on. Right. It was always about... It makes you feel a certain way. It's not about, again, it's not about how fast you play something. It's not about how complicated the chord is. It's about, I remember thinking, I used to think that, all these chord progressions are great. And I did that and did that and did that. And then all of a sudden I was like, wait, I'm listening to certain John Lennon songs where he stays on one chord. Yeah. And I go, oh God, now that's a whole new thing I go down. It's all about the rhythm of the vocals and the note that the vocal's on. And I used to think the melody has to move around a lot. Mm-hmm. And then it becomes... well, I remember, I like what I like. Right. And that's it. Well, that's what it should be. And there's stuff that, I'm sure there's stuff that I like that you don't like, mm-hmm. and vice versa. And I remember having this discussion, I forget when, but... we were talking about Pink Floyd. I liked Pink Floyd. Right. I wasn't, huge into it, but I enjoyed Pink Floyd. And I remember we were riding in a car somewhere, and you were like, oh, I finally get Pink Floyd. It was a song that I hated my whole life, too. Yeah, yeah. It was... See, I think that's interesting. Yeah, Wish You Were Here. Yeah. I heard... Was that because we heard a really bad version of it at the Parsippany Hills High School talent show? No, that was turn you that off? Was comfortably numb. Oh, okay. No, Wish You Were Here is every person I've ever taught guitar to plays the intro to Wish You Were Here. Yeah. And I always heard the intro and was just like, it sounds like I don't even get it. It just doesn't sound good to me. Mm-hmm. And then the vocals come in and I never got it, and I would always just stop it. And then I watched, I don't know if it's either Dogtown and Z-Boys or the documentary, not the movie, mm-hmm. or Do You Believe in Miracles, the documentary. One of those. I'm pretty sure it's... That's the hockey one, right? Yeah. Okay. And then the Dogtown and Z-Boys are the original California skateboarders. Yeah, yeah. At the end of one of those documentaries, and I love those. Those are my two favorite documentaries. Mm-hmm. I've watched them a million times. The end of them, Wish You Were Here, comes on. And when the song comes on at the end of that, I go... That made me go... That explained the whole song to me. It like put it into context, and I was like, now I think it's one of the most brilliant songs ever. One of the songs that I thought was the most dumb songs in the world.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean that's what every song should. I mean, that's what every song is to someone. It should just be, how do you hear it? What do you relate it to?
Right.
It shouldn't. There is no great song. There's a great song to a certain person,
right.
a great song for a certain time, and
there are great songs that perform functions.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
You know, like I listen to this song because it makes me want to do this.
Right.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So you put on certain songs to work out to. You put on certain songs to clean to. You put on certain songs, to lay and go to sleep to, or draw or paint.
Yeah.
It's different. Yeah, that's what I was talking about like being at a bar playing music for people who are eating dinner, and to not focus on necessarily the drunk person in front of you who's yelling things out to play this, but to go, I've been the person at the restaurant eating and enjoying the person playing the music and loving it, but I'm there to eat, and I don't want to hear someone screaming, and I just I want them to continue what they're doing, and there might be 40 of us,
Right.
and it's good to focus on that's the majority of people at a place. It's just like,
but it's
you're making the mood to their night,
but you're understanding your function in an environment.
It's not about me,
right? It's not about it's you're part of a bigger thing.
You're being the soundtrack to someone's night, and you're not forcing yourself upon them. That's the other thing, is
you're not looking to have them stand up and applaud after you play a song.
Right. I don't want to applaud after every song I hear. I can enjoy it, but I'm in the middle of a conversation,
right.
you know? And it's like, if you're at a place where you're the band booked for the night, it's a different thing. But if you're the person just making the mood, you should be okay. You know ahead of time that's your
And it's cool. Like you sit with your wife, you're talking, and all of a sudden every couple of minutes you might stop and be like, oh, I know this song, or oh, that's a cool song, or oh, hey, I remember we danced to this song at a wedding. Oh, that's great. Now let's go back to talking about our day. You know?
Yeah. Why we came here in the first place.
Exactly.
Not to see this guy, and not to giving him our full attention all night. Yeah. So tonight for us is we got big UFC night. I've been waiting for this night for so long.
I'm so lost on UFC, and especially like now that the cards are constantly changing. And this is really bad. Like as a guy, I've spent like the past 8 years I've been doing jiu-jitsu like you've been playing the guitar. Like I focused a huge portion of my day training. It's one of those things that you just get obsessed over.
Right.
And I used to love watching UFC with you way back.
Right.
When it was first coming out, And I find myself like, I remember when I first started training, I used to have a lot of the guys from the gym come and I'd rent the UFC and we'd all watch together. And it would start at 9.
Right.
And then I just remember at like 10 o'clock hits.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why did I do this? I just want to go to bed.
Right.
Well,
I remember.
And then I'd have to suck it up and stick it out until like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Well, you used to invite me over to some of those things, and I'd be like, I can't go because no one watches the fights, and all I want to, I sit there and I listen to every word that is being said.
Right.
And I get so into all the drama because they try to make. They're trying to make the drama, and they're trying to sell you on any dramatic points going on.
Right.
But that's what makes me more into it when they explain all that stuff. And when I miss that, it makes me kind of go like, I'm not as interested.
Right.
And that's what I would notice when I would go over and everyone's talking and stuff. Usually it's like, oh, I don't need to watch the fight.
So are you going to be upset if I go to bed early?
I don't care.
I'll probably fall asleep on the couch.
I kind of want you to go to bed early because I don't want you talking to me. I honestly, I get food and I sit in front of my computer when Deanna goes to sleep, and I put on my headphones, and I just sit there with like hummus and chips and like.
Okay. We'll hook it up. I'll be quiet. I'll tell you a really funny story. But I love Game of Thrones.
I've never seen Game of Thrones. I've seen the first 2 episodes.
It's awesome, and I love this show. And the season, epic. So, same setup, right? I watch it Mondays, so I watch it on my laptop. I crawl into bed and watch the laptop, and like Risa, we have a baby. She co-sleeps, so they sleep in the other room. It's awesome. So I pull in my laptop, put on Game of Thrones. It's the season finale.
When?
It was a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, I did. Everyone was commenting on it.
And it was the last 2 episodes of this season was like watching a movie. It was unbelievable.
Right.
So I start watching it, and Risa gets Jackson to sleep, and then she comes into the bedroom to hang out. And I'm like, oh, do you want me to shut this off and watch it later? She's like, no. I'll watch with you. She maybe watched the first episode of Game of Thrones when it came on 6 years ago.
Right.
And it's a complex show.
Right.
So every 5 minutes, it was like, oh, who's that guy? Oh, what did he just say? Is she a bad guy or a good guy? And it was literally every 30 seconds. So I got 5 minutes into it and was like, you know what, honey? Let's hang out and I'll watch this another time.
I would rather.
And she's
spend
like,
time
"Are you
with
sure?" I'm like, "Totally, no problem."
That's you. That's gonna be you at UFC tonight.
Exactly.
Oh,
I'm like, who's this guy? Because I haven't like I said, aside from watching it with you, and we don't watch it often together. Like I haven't watched it in a really long time.
Yeah, you'll
consistently.
You'll know everyone on this one. Yeah. I think you'll know everyone, but
that's but I'm gonna do it on purpose.
Yeah, I know. So I wish I never said this. So the reason I have to do is Deanna has her friends coming over tonight, so I have to leave. So I have to go to Alex's house. This is well, we can end this. I think.
Yeah, you sure?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
We'll see how this does. If anyone cares.
I thought it was good.
Yeah. Well, who knows? Who knows? Yeah.
I had fun.
You know what we'll do? I'll just send it to the guy
and have him
edit what he thinks sucks and stuff.
That's perfect.
Do you have did I hit you in the face or did someone else hit you?
It's probably you.
Really?
Do I have a black eye?
Yeah.
All right. I'll pay back.
I thought I hit you. I thought I might have hit you at one point.
Yeah.
With something. Yeah.
Well, that's what he gets for messing with me.
All right. This is the metal in me.
Yeah.
Without Jim Breuer.
Good hang, guys. Good hang.
Travelers in time, that's a fact we cannot change. It's your soul, that's who you are, and your body's just a cage. What lies beneath it all? Welcome to the unexplained. We lie awake, let our thoughts burn up the night. We are the chosen ones, the players of the life. Break down the walls. Don't surrender to it all. Free yourself from the mind control. Break down the walls. Just step back and let them fall. Don't you ever let them take your soul. The sun will shine another day, another life, another way. Play the game, it's win or lose, it's right or wrong, so you better choose what lies beneath it all.